This calls for some popcorn, chocolate, and a drink. Huh? Oh, you're doing great, babe.
We are in the Magnolia State here in Oxford, Mississippi for what should be a great day of football on a cool fall, late morning, early afternoon, depending on where you are. The Liberty Flames at 7-2 come a-calling to the Ole Miss Rebels at 6-2. And boy, there are a ton of storylines today, but perhaps none bigger than this one. Hugh Freeze, who really led a resurgence of Ole Miss football from 2012 to 2016, making his first trip back to Oxford. You know it's an emotional day for the former Rebel coach, but having some success in Lynchburg. And welcome to SEC Network Football, presented by Allstate. Now that certainly is one big storyline, but on the field, this is a great storyline. Two of the best quarterbacks in college football. Malik Willis will lead the charge. The former Auburn quarterback is just putting on a show. Meanwhile, putting on a show for Ole Miss, Matt Corral. A lot of questions about whether he would be able to go today, but certainly from the looks of things, he is ready to go. These two guys define dual threat quarterbacks. Dave Neal alongside former Rebel great Deuce McAllister. Andrea Carter down on the sidelines. We'll check in with her in just a moment. But Deuce, obviously, when it comes to quarterbacks, you won't find a better matchup than what we have here today. What do you like about these two guys?
Well, I like their ability to be able to run the football. And, obviously being able to throw the football, that's going to be key for them as well. But, you talk about dual quarterbacks. Both of these guys lead their team in rushing. That tells you something about how tough they are, that you have the design quarterback runs, but their ability to be able to make a play once the play breaks down.
And if you want scoring, these two guys will lead their respective offenses to the end zones quite a bit. We'll hope to have some fireworks today. We talked about Matt Corral being a little bit banged up. He's not the only one for the Rebels. For more on that story, let's go down to the sidelines and Andrea Carter.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, starting with Matt Corral, he was very limited all week in practice, really focused on the mental side of the game and his recovery. He did practice some yesterday, but warm-ups was the determining factor, and I was able to watch him out on the field. I did see him grit his teeth a couple of times, but other than that, a lot of smiles, dapping up his teammates, everyone all morning long talking about how tough he is. The offensive line, with their injuries, they are moving Jalen Cunningham from the defensive line to the offensive side of the ball to try and protect Matt Corral a little bit more. But guys, as far as his receivers go, Dontario Drummond and Jonathan Mingo are still out, and Braylon Sanders is possible, but if any, his role will be limited today.
Yeah, we think we might see Sanders, but only in a red zone situation. Meanwhile, there is Hugh Freeze. Talked to him last night at his hotel, again this morning before the game, and said he just was just almost in tears over the reception he got getting off the bus today, the amount of hugs and handshakes he was able to deliver, and obviously it was an unceremonious exit from this university here at Ole Miss. But after a couple of years off, found a home in Liberty, and he has done nothing but put together a fantastic program for the Flames, who come into this one with a 7-2 record, taking on an Ole Miss team led by this guy. And this is part of the reason the folks, there weren't many, I didn't hear a whole lot of boos for Coach Freeze when he came out. And part of the reason is because of the success of this guy, Lane Kiffin. He's got Ole Miss back in the national spotlight again. And he said he's just trying to fight through these injuries, trying to still produce the type of offense that they want to run, the up-tempo. And we'll find out early what it's going to look like, because Ole Miss is going to get the football first. And we are underway, and that one will roll through the end zone, so the Rebels will have it out at the 25-yard line. So, Matt Corral, the junior out of Ventura, California, at a Long Beach Poly High School, 66% completion rate, and he is, at times, been a one-man show.
Phenomenal quarterback. He can do it all for you. His ability to be able to pass the football but run, I think that'll be key for them today.
Just a heads up for Ole Miss fans, John Rice Plumlee is a young man that certainly is super talented. Came here as a quarterback. They've moved him out to a wide receiver hybrid role. We'll see a lot of him today, but there is Dennis Jackson who gets the start today. But John Rice Plumlee going to be a very big factor in this Ole Miss offense today as you look at some of their starters. And up front, you'll see John Rice Plumlee, Ja'Cour Pearson, Dennis Jackson, who we just saw, Casey Kelly getting healthier and healthier every day at tight end. Big hole off the left side. There goes Jerrion Ely. The speedster will take it on the second play of the game to the end zone. 70 yards. Good morning.
Dave, you see the speed, outstanding block by Broker. Nick Brocker does an outstanding job, and then Caleb Warren at that left guard, who has kind of been banged up as well, does an outstanding job. I mean, it is wide open, and you see the speed of Ely, a guy that they wanted to get more involved, only had 3 carries. I think that's a pretty good way to start a game there.
Wow, 70 yards. Ely off the left side, untouched. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the year. The point after up and good from Caden Costa. And just like that, it is a 7-0 Ole Miss lead. You mentioned only 3 carries, had 6 touches total last week. Coaches said this week we have got to do better at making sure he gets enough touches in the game. Well, you see why.
Yeah, and I think his sweet spot when you talk about touches for him overall is about 15 to 20 touches, just because of his speed. And we see really on that second carry, when he gets into the open field, I mean, he's a dynamic runner. He can outrun whether you have an angle or, be able to just juke guys out. And so that's the kind of start that you want if you're that Ole Miss offense. And, Matt Corral, he's involved, but he doesn't have to throw the football because they're able to score from afar.
Well, that is exactly the start Ole Miss wanted. These early kickoffs, especially for home teams, their coach is always worried about this. How's my team going to be ready mentally? Looks like they had a few cups of coffee ready to go.
Yeah, and I think they're definitely ready, but the key to this game will be on the defensive side of the football. Can they slow down Malik Willis? That will be the key for them as far as this game is concerned.
And picking up a touchdown without Matt Corral having to throw it or run it certainly is a big plus for the Rebels. Now we'll see what Liberty can do offensively. This kick, fair catch called for. So that'll come out to the 25-yard line. So now we get a chance to see Mr. Malik Willis, the redshirt junior out of Atlanta, Georgia. They say he'll be a top 4 pick, top 4 quarterback taken in the upcoming draft. His numbers are staggering as well. I mean, it's almost like this is fake news. What we're bringing you with the numbers these guys are producing this year. Look for that today from Malik Willis. Last week, Malik 307 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns, ran it for 37 yards in a 62-17 win over UMass. So the Flames will start from the 25. Here's Willis. And he is sacked, and that has been an issue for the Flames all year. They have not been able to protect Malik Willis. That is the 30th sack allowed, a loss of 10.
Dave, Ole Miss brings pressure off of the edges. Johnson as well as Campbell is one of those blitzers, and that's the one thing that, talking to Coach Freeze was the question, can they protect him? And we see on the first play they cannot.
So second down and 19.5. Willis going up top, trying to pick up that yardage and then some, trying to hit Noah Frith, and there'll be pass interference.
Pass interference, number 5, Duke. Early, first down.
Well, that'll get Liberty out of some trouble. That'll move the ball out to the 31-yard line.
Penalty on DeAndre Prince. Never really got his head turned around to locate the football.
So it'll be first down and 10 now from just outside the 30-yard line. Willis over the middle. Pass is caught there. That goes to Demario Douglas, and he is across midfield out to the 43-yard line, a gain of 25. Defensively for Ole Miss, Sam Williams has been the guy in terms of the pass rush for the Rebels this year. A couple of outstanding linebackers, Robinson and Chance Campbell, as Matt gets the carry, and Robinson there to meet him. This Ole Miss defense about as healthy as you could expect a defense to be at this part of the season, but having Chance Campbell this year, the transfer, has been a huge benefit for the Rebels. They're going to stop that play.
Offside, number 1, defense overtaking the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Look at our referee today, Mark Curls. Talked to him. He and I have been around a while. This is his 17th year officiating in the Southeastern Conference.
Jake Springer unevaded to the quarterback, caught in the neutral zone for Ole Miss.
There goes the handoff. A couple of yards. Joshua Mack will get enough for that first down, so they'll move the chains. It'll be first down and 10 for the Flames. By the way, this Liberty offense, 37 points a game, 445 yards of offense. They're down a tick from a year ago, but still impressive numbers across the board. Boy, what a season it was for Liberty last year. They go 10-1. Beat Coastal Carolina in the Cure Bowl, 37-34 on the last second field goal. There goes Mack to the 30-yard line. He'll pick up 3. Mack, the senior out of Rochester, New York, transfer in from Maine.
See Liberty doing a pretty good job as far as controlling their tempo. They have the ability to be able to go fast when needed, and then they'll slow it down and, you know, kind of look at that defense, see what the front is giving him to be able to get that play call from Coach Hugh Freeze.
Second down and 7. Ole Miss bringing a couple of extra pass rushers. Willis gets out of that trouble. And Malik nowhere to run. He's going to be hit and drop back at the 37-yard line. Otis Reese will get credit for the tackle. That'll be a loss of 7.
Second time we've seen Ole Miss kind of bring pressure off of the edge. It's Otis Reese who has an opportunity early on to make the tackle, but he's not able to. And then you have Mark Robinson, former running back, that's able to really chase him down and force Willis back in, where Reese comes in and he's able to clean it up.
One drive and already 2 sacks allowed. So now a 3rd down and a dozen. Willis slips and falls. So 4th down as he loses a yard on the play.
Cedric Johnson slides in and plays over the guard in the center, and he's really the guy that is in the area. But like you talked about, Dave, Malik kind of slips down as he goes to try to make a cut. Looks like Liberty's going to try a long field goal here. Ole Miss only rushing 3 guys and playing coverage behind that.
Boy, this will be a 54-yard field goal. Braden Beck, who took over the job midway through the senior, the true freshman, will line it up from 54. His long this year is 37 against Middle Tennessee State. He's 2 for 2 in the field goal department.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
He's got a punt now. Ball would have been blocked as well. K.D. Hill looked like he got his hand on it. They don't have a choice but to punt at this point.
Not to mention, you might think that might play a little mental game with your kicker, having one swat right back at him.
That's a great. Ole Miss will go defense safe. They'll put a returner back there. It'll be Springer as the returner. They'll keep their defense out on the field.
4th and 18. Good clean snap. Alvis will punt it away, and the Rebels will have it. They lead it 7-0 here in the first quarter. Always great to come to Oxford. Get down on the square. 7-0 Ole Miss leading Liberty as we take a look at the keys to victory, brought to you by the barbecue guys. And Deuce, what are your keys today?
Well, when you talk about Malik Willis, it's his ability to extend plays, and he's really, looking for the explosive play to push the football down the field. We saw Prince get the penalty early. That's one of the things that he will be able to do, and then make plays with his legs. That's also key for him. I mean, to be successful, he's got to be able to make plays with his leg. Matt Corral, he's got to trust some of those young receivers that are playing for him. We've seen him be able to get it to Jackson earlier, but also understanding and knowing when to take off and run, and just trusting his ability to be able to stay in this game long term is critical.
And he will sling it out. Here's Ely, who had that 70-yard touchdown run. He'll take it out over the 20. And that's what you're referring to in situational awareness, and that really falls on the shoulders of Matt Corral.
That's correct. I mean, you go back and you look at a game where he had against Tennessee up to 30 carries. He can't get himself in that type of situation or that type of game.
The inside handoff, and that'll be enough for the first down. Corral had 30 carries against the Vols, and really, since then, he's just, not that he was 100% healthy going into that game, but after that game, just beat up, and the effects have been lingering now for a couple of weeks. But it was some kind of performance from Matt Corral. We were talking a little bit to Lane Kiffin about that game, and still the environment, not just what happened at the end, but Neyland Stadium before kickoff was about as electric as it had been in decades. Lane was kind of hoping for some of that here today with Lane Kiffin leading the Ole Miss Rebels against former Rebel coach Hugh Freeze. Corral, good clean pocket. That is batted up in the air a couple of times, and Dennis Jackson's got to make that catch. He couldn't be more wide open.
Well, he was trying to run before he looked that football in. And you talk about just being there as far as the throw, clean pocket, and maybe a little bit behind, but that's where Jackson just has to throttle down and be able to make that catch.
Henry Parrish checks into the game. John Rice Plumlee moves into the slot on the near side. They'll throw this way, and that one's high. Sails over the head of Dennis Jackson. And Ole Miss looks like they're going to have to punt this away.
Well, after picking up an initial first down, you can't get anything done on that play. And like you talked about, a high pass to Dennis Jackson, but it goes back to the play before where you're in zone coverage. You've got to be able just to throttle down a little bit and not run out of the view of the quarterback. And that's a drive that I know that they wish that they had back.
Ball will hit and take a favorable Ole Miss bounce right into the hands of DJ Stubbs. No flags in the play. We'll step aside. Rebels lead by 7, but the Flames have the football.
SEC Network Football is presented by Allstate. Save money like a champion with Allstate. And in part by new Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. And Wendy's hot and crispy fries. Try the best combo ever today.
Old 22, the Deuce is loose. Deuce McAllister, my partner in the booth this year, coming back home to Oxford, Mississippi. And between snaps during our last break, honored here. Crowd gave him a nice round of ovation. Deuce, I got a great career here. Coming back, it's always a special place.
It's definitely special, just to be able to see a lot of the people that kind of made things happen behind the scenes, and, just to tell them thank you and hello. That's always nice.
More than just one homecoming today. Here's Malik Willis. For those who don't remember, old 22 used to get it done, folks. 1997 to 2000. Look at some of those numbers. Crazy. And we saw even threw for a touchdown to your buddy Romero Miller.
I did, and I just told Romero he better not drop the pass. Don't worry about the form. It may not be the prettiest, but the football will definitely get there.
So you threw for a touchdown, you ran for a touchdown, you had a punt return for a touchdown, a kickoff return for a touchdown. You never had a pick six, though. Very disappointed in you.
If they had let me, I probably would have tried. Definitely would have tried.
Here's the handoff inside to Joshua Mack, breaking a couple of tackles, and he is across midfield inside the 45-yard line, brought down by Finley. That's gain of 19.
I love the patience here by Mack. I mean, Ole Miss really probably should have stopped this play at the line of scrimmage, but you had two guys in the same gap, Otis Reese and Lakia Henry. They probably, they were in the same gap, and so the patience by Mack allowed the guard up front to be able to pull and seal that, right there for Reese, and that's why you get the first down run.
They'll keep it on the ground. Some room to run again for Mack. Finally bottled up around the 37-yard line. Hey, we've got a super day of football right here on the network. Coming up next, it's Mississippi State right in the mix in the SEC West. They square off against Arkansas. And then at 7:30 Eastern, Florida will take on South Carolina. It's our SEC Saturday night matchup. Kind of a bumpy few days down there in Gainesville for Dan Mullen. Of course, a win would certainly help things out. That's all coming up the rest of the day here on the SEC Network. Pump fake from Willis. High throw. Good catch by Douglas. DeMario will have the first down inside the 30. It's a 7-yard gain. DeMario, 37 catches, 5 touchdowns this year.
I love how Willis, his ability to really just be able to look off to the defender there. It looked like he wanted to go inside to kind of his tight end and decided to go to the outside option as far as Willis was concerned, the receiver, and just a really nice job by Willis there, the quarterback, just being able to kind of look off the defense.
Willis will keep it, cuts it to the outside. Oh boy, almost broke that one for a big run. He'll be tripped up around the 22 by Jake Springer. That's another gain of 7 for the Flames.
This is the second time we've seen him just be able to run the football. A couple times he was able to get outside. This time it's inside, and his ability to be able to run, we talked about that earlier, Dave, will stress this Ole Miss defense from a schematic standpoint as well as just being in the right place where you're supposed to be.
Johnny Huntley, the tight end, goes in motion. They'll keep it on the ground, though, and run it with Mack. Mack still on his feet. Dragging some Ole Miss defenders with him inside the 15. They'll spot it around the 12-yard line. That's a gain of 10.
Right guard Brendan Schertler, he does a nice job of just being able to create that hole. And, you talk about no one there as far as the linebackers or even the secondary guys. They're being put in one-on-one situations. And, we've talked about Mack's patience and making guys miss. You see it there on that run.
Couple of tight ends for the Flames on a first down and 10. Hand it off to Mack. Runs into a blue wall, and not much happening on that possession.
Dave, you'll start to see those safeties get a lot more involved, try to come into the box for this Ole Miss defense as they enter into the red zone. This is where really Willis will try to, he'll run the football a lot more as well when you talk about those RPO looks.
Boy, red zone has been a fantastic spot for Liberty. They score touchdowns, more than most, inside the 20-yard line. That one is incomplete, batted away. It'll be third down, trying to hit Stubbs with it. Jake Springer there with a good defensive play in that secondary.
Springer has probably been one of the biggest impact players, when he's been in the game, or really this season. His availability for this Ole Miss defense has been really the difference maker for them. You talk about Mark Robinson and Chance Campbell being playmakers as well, those linebackers, but Springer on the back end has been outstanding for them.
Shedro Lewis in the backfield. Willis looking to throw, has some time, and now the pocket collapses. Nobody was open, and he is dropped again. Chance Campbell got there first. That's a loss of 8.
Ole Miss brings pressure. They have two linebackers up in the A-gap. but initially Liberty does a nice job of being able to pick it up. That's one where Willis, he's got to get rid of that football. I mean, because if you don't, with the sack, you're just pushing your kicker back a little bit further. But like you talked about on the back end for that Ole Miss defense, they were able to coverage, and so that's probably going to be a coverage sack more than anything.
So here's Braden Beck. This from 38 yards. It is no good. So the Rebel defense stands tall. They'll have the football when we come back, leading by a touchdown. Well, there is Kent Austin, who is the offensive coordinator for the Liberty Flames. And Ole Miss fans certainly remember him coming back home. There's a lot of homecomings today, not just Deuce or Hugh Freeze, but Kent Austin, who was so good here as a quarterback in the early 80s. You see some of those numbers. Was the offensive coordinator under Houston Nutt, 2008 through 2010. Ken Austin had a great career in the Canadian Football League as well, threw for over 3,600 yards. Talked to him at length last night over at the Liberty Hotel, and it's always special for him to come back. It's the first time he's ever been here on the opposing sideline as well. So a lot of emotions for Ken Austin and his family. Here's Matt Corral going up top. Big hit and catch from Dennis Jackson. Down to the 30-yard line. 52-yard pickup.
Jackson hold on to this pass here, you know, and so that's the one thing that you see, his speed to stretch a defense.
Here goes Henry Parrish off the left side, inside the 25 to the 24-yard line.
Beautifully thrown ball there by Matt Corral, and Dennis Jackson knows he's going to get hit. The safety coming over the top, he's able to hold on to that football.
Nothing happening there for Parrish. He might even lose a couple of yards. And that'll bring up a third down. Parrish, the sophomore, 464 yards on the ground, averaging 5.5 yards per carry. They'll throw it over the middle, right through the hands of Braylon Sanders. We thought we might see him on this end of the field.
Just a glance route, and Sanders, I mean, it's got a little heat on it, but that's one that he's got to catch. You know, and he's been kind of up and down as far as offensively involved, but that's one that he's got to catch. So 2 early drops by Ole Miss receivers.
So a 43-yard field goal attempt on the way from Caden Costa, who has been really good. 9 of 11 along a 50 against Arkansas. Had a 49-yarder last week against Auburn, and he'll send that one through the uprights from 43. So 3 more on the board for the Rebels, and they now lead it 10-0. 1:22 to play here in the first quarter. Well, it is Saturday. If you didn't know and you woke up kind of a little shaking it off a little bit, didn't know it was the weekend, it is Saturday. So that means it's time to represent your school. Show us how big you're going today. Submit your best fan video this weekend to #ShowYourSaturday, and you might just get your 50 seconds of fan fame.
Dave, we haven't seen Matt Corral be able to move a lot in the pocket, but some of the things that he's been able to do is really like Coach Kiffin talked about to us, you know, just let him be a drop-back passer in that pocket. And, you know, we've seen him be able to throw particularly, you know, two passes. You talk about the over route to Jackson and then the post there, and then you have the little glance route to Braylon Sanders. I mean, but he looks outside of the high pass on the sideline to Jackson. You know, he's looked pretty good so far.
Corral 3 out of 6, 63 yards. Malik Willis 2 out of 3 for 32 yards. This one is returnable from the 5 from Lewis. And he's out to the 23. The problem, though, for Malik Willis is he's already been sacked 4 times in 2 possessions.
That's definitely a problem for your quarterback, you know, when you can't protect him, and obviously, you know, his ability to be able to create and stretch a play and put some pressure on that Ole Miss defense. definitely hurts them. But when you put yourself behind the chains, whether it's first down or second down, that definitely doesn't help any type of offense. Look for him to be able to stretch this field again. You know, he had one pass interference play already against this Ole Miss defense. Did a pretty nice job until they got in the red zone as far as on that drive last play.
First down and 10. Willis decides to keep it. Breaking a couple of tackles, turning nothing into something out over the 25 to the 26. Boy, those are 3 hard-earned yards for Malik Willis.
Really nice design here, and it's a counter play, and you see the big player, the strong player that he is. I mean, it takes numerous Ole Miss players to kind of bring him down, and that probably should have been a lost yardage type play, and he's able to make something out of it, and just shows you, you know, the type of athlete that he is at that quarterback position.
Willis will tuck it and run. Boy, Ole Miss is doing a nice job of covering up these receivers. These quick hits aren't there for Malik Willis today.
Yeah, and I think that was one where he wanted to be able to throw the football down the field, and you know, he just didn't like it as far as the coverage was there for Ole Miss, and he decides just to tuck it and run it. And you know, Mark Robinson, we've seen him kind of be that spy player a couple of times already, and he's the guy that makes that tackle. And, you know,
so that'll do it for the first 15 minutes. Hugh Freeze coming back home. His team's trailing by 10.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff semifinals. Friday, December 31st on ESPN. Run it.
Welcome back to SEC Network Football presented by Allstate. It's a 10-0 game here, Ole Miss. Things got started early for the Rebels on the second play of the game. Jerion Ely went 70 yards for a touchdown. Ole Miss added a field goal just moments ago, and now the Flames with a big third down to start the second quarter. Malik Willis has been sacked 4 times already, and he has been hit a bunch more than that today. Willis hit and dropped again. And Ole Miss just matched their season high with 5 sacks, and there is 3/4 of football left.
Sam Williams just uses his speed, and you know that's one thing that you knew coming into this game. You didn't want to leave him in one-on-one situations, and there he's matched up against Jonathan Graham, and he's just too fast, he's too quick. You know, and you talk about Malik Willis never really had a chance in that situation. Sam Williams just beats him with speed off of the edge.
Sam, future NFL prospect and having a heck of a season. Morgan's punt taken at the 37-yard line by Springer, making a couple of guys miss, and ooh, he is walloped. Should have gotten down on the turf, but he'll pop up out to the 42-yard line. That is where Ole Miss will have it. 14:09 to go here in the second quarter. Matt Corral, 3 out of 6 throwing the football. A couple of those should have been caught, however.
Yeah, only 63 yards. You talk about the deep post there to Jackson earlier, but 2 or more of those passes, Jackson had one, and then Braylon Sanders had one that was dropped. I mean, but so far, you know, outside of one just high throw, Matt Corral dealing with an ankle issue doesn't look bad at all.
So this offensive line that's going without their real leader, Ben Brown, out for the rest of the year with an injury. Orlando Umana, the center, been banged up all year for the most part. Dennis Jackson will have it up for the first down. But so far, this O-line, as they put Jalen Cunningham in the starting lineup. Jalen is a former offensive line, but he spent the last year playing defensive line, threw him in there this week and said, hey, you know what, looks good enough, let's get him in the starting lineup. Corral slides to the right, going deep, trying to hit Jackson, and that one is incomplete. Deron Lowe back there in coverage.
Yeah, and that was one where Matt does a good job. It looked like he wanted to hit. You've got just 2 post plays here, and Lowe almost comes up with this interception there, and that's one where Jackson, they probably fight over it a little bit, and he's able to dig it out. But he's giving his receivers an opportunity to make plays, and definitely can't fault him there.
Corral, another clean pocket, going up top, near side, pass is caught there, Braylon Sanders. He played a little bit last week, but no stats. Got a look earlier this game and dropped one right through his hands, and this time he holds on.
Yeah, this is just a go route. We talked about the beautiful pass by Matt Corral. This one is on time, and Sanders is able to catch that one cleanly.
Ely trying to get the corner, dives for the pylon. He's in there, touchdown, Ole Miss.
Dave, Ely, second time, particularly on that left side. You know, you talk about another guy that has potential to play in the NFL, Nick Brocker, and, you know, Ely's just too quick. He's too fast. I mean, he's just able to beat him to the corner. Caleb Warren gets just enough of his guy on the left side, and Ely is able just to beat him to that corner, to the pylon, to be able to get in the end zone.
They're going to take another look at this, or I guess just an expanded look to make sure he got into the end zone, and Mark Curls gets the sign that it's all good. Touchdown Ole Miss, and here comes the point after. Caden Costa, 37 out of 39 in the point after department. And hammers that one through the uprights. So a good start for Ole Miss. They lead it by 17. Jerrion Ely with his second touchdown today. Back in a moment.
Peter Burns with a studio update. 4th and 6, down 3. Yes, Georgia was down 3. They're going full Lane Kiffin. It is Kirby Smart, Stetson Bennett, Arian Smith, first catch since week 2, touchdown, and then next drive, block kick. Nolan Smith with the block. Dan Jackson can't hold on to it. It's a safety. Baseball score in Athens, 9-3. Back to Dave and Deuce.
Thanks, PB. Now, you and I are used to getting up early, but I know these coaches, they dread these. The home coaches in particular don't like the early kick just because of the energy that sometimes they feel, the vibe they get from their team. Deuce, was it tough for you to play those early games?
No, Dave, because most of my games were at 11 o'clock or 11:30, so
it was routine.
It was routine to it, so.
Yeah. You and I saw a lot of each other back in the day, didn't
That's
we?
exactly right.
Here's a look at that last touchdown coming your way through the pylon camera. Boy, a great look. The camera's okay. And it is up and functioning. Jerrion Ely with his second touchdown today from 4 yards out, and his first one came from 70 yards out. That 70-yard is the longest run of the year for the Rebels. The previous was a 51-yarder from Snoop Connors. We talked to Snoop yesterday. Let's look at the pylon. It's up, ready to go for its next bit of work. But Snoop was great talking to him yesterday.
A really good kid.
Little fake. Malik Willis trying to get a little bit of time. He has been battered around today. That one tipped in the air and incomplete.
Freshman Tysheem Johnson does a nice job of coming off of his guy. You got a little bootleg action, and it's really the second level where Malik is trying to hit as far as the receiver is concerned, and Johnson is able to kind of tip that pass away.
So second down and 10. Ole Miss has forced this Liberty team into some third down situations, and they have picked up a sack every time they force the Flames to third down. It'll be first down here as DJ Stubbs makes the catch out over the 35 to the 37-yard line, a 13-yard pickup.
Pressure again by Ole Miss from depth this time, and Malik Willis, he has enough time to really see it. The throw is going to Stubbs on the opposite side, just running a stop route, you know, probably about 10 yards, 11 yards, and a nice job of picking up the first down.
Moving the pocket, Willis would tuck it and run. Again wanted to throw, but nobody was available. Nakia Henry comes in to make the play. It'll be a gain of a couple of yards for Malik Willis.
Dave, you talked about them moving that pocket with Willis, and some of that is because of all the interior issues that they're having trying to block that Ole Miss defense, but also you're expecting pressure. And that time, Ole Miss didn't bring it. They sat there in the coverage, but like you talked about, none of the receivers were able to get any separation, and Willis has to run with it.
Willis again hit. Gets it out over the 40. They'll spot his forward progress at the 43-yard line. Now you're looking at 3rd down and about 5. And again, the 3 prior 3rd downs, Willis has been sacked.
That time another design quarterback run for Willis just to make it, an easier look as far as his 3rd down opportunity, and it looks like Ole Miss Springer is going to have to come out of the game. The referees call a timeout. He's dealt with some shoulder injuries.
So Springer exits on this 3rd down. Looking for their first conversion. Pressure comes. Willis hit as he throws, and that one is, they're going to say, caught around midfield, across the midfield stripe at the 49-yard line.
That may be an interception, Dave.
Well, they're talking about it. Jalen Jones was over there battling for the football. They're going to say interception, I believe.
Yeah, there was pressure by Ole Miss, and the question is, he comes up with the interception.
As a catch by the offense, first down.
Yeah, my only assumption here is maybe the receiver was down when he hit it, and the defensive back, Jalen Jones, takes it away from him. You got an Ole Miss defender that's hurt. Robinson is getting looked at.
Big story right here was that a completion for a first down or a pick? We'll tell you when we come back.
SEC Network Football, presented by Allstate, is brought to you by B. It's What's for Dinner, and new Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, and Wendy's Hot and Crispy Fries. Try the best combo ever today.
After further review, the ruling is the offensive player never controlled the ball. It was possessed and controlled by the defense. First miss.
Well, some big wins by Hugh Freeze, but lost that one, as the replay will overturn what they initially thought was a catch by Liberty, but instead an interception by Jalen Jones will give the Rebels possession at midfield.
Yeah, when you go back and look at this, Noah Frith, he never really controlled it. From the first look, it looked like he had it, but as they spun over, the ball was down by his knee area, and Jalen Jones kind of ends up with it in his hands. And so, one of the most impressive things as well is you talk about Malik Willis kind of throwing off platform, kind of sidearm type of throw in that situation. So he definitely delivered the football there and to the right spot. Just Noah Frith never came up with it.
Snoop Conner in the game at running back. Corral has a lot of room to run, and he will quickly get down. He'll pick up 7. You can see him gingerly get back to the huddle. Lane Kiffin telling us this week not a whole lot of activity for Matt Corral, just trying to get him healthy. And this morning in workouts had to prove to him that he was ready to go. Funny how healthy you get on game day, isn't it?
You don't practice all week. You take a couple snaps on Friday, and game day. That's the energy and adrenaline and everything pouring, and that's the best that you've looked and felt all week.
So no gain for the Rebels. 3rd down. Corral's throw is caught, good enough for the first down on that far side down to the 38-yard line. Dennis Jackson with a 6-yard catch.
Going back to that first play, Matt Corral, Ole Miss going for the explosive play right away. Liberty defense does a nice job on that sudden change of handling kind of the set that Ole Miss wanted to run and forced Matt Corral to kind of run the football.
Corral Corral looks good there. Spins, fires over the middle. Pass is caught by Sanders. How about that play on both ends?
Really nice job here of pressure off of the edge by Liberty and Robert Rahim bringing that pressure, but Sanders is able just to make a catch from his quarterback of just filling the defender there.
Gain of 20. Here's Snoop Connor. They crash in from the edge. Story Jackson making the play. The transfer from Prairie View has been a good addition. The team's leading tackler with 67 on the year.
So, Dave, you could tell Liberty has definitely picked up their blitz package.
So John Rice Plumlee now, we thought we'd see some of this. John Rice Plumlee, who's been on a bunch of snaps, will line up at quarterback and kind of the run game that Matt Corral usually runs. And they'll put Corral split wide to the near side. And John Rice Plumlee should have handed that ball off to Ja'Cour Pearson. Instead, he is swallowed up immediately by Darrell Johnson.
That's a young man that hadn't really gotten to touch the ball a lot today. He gets a chance to touch the ball, and like you said, that one he probably should have gave to Pearson, but holds on to it a little bit, and Matt goes back to the quarterback position.
They said John Rice Plumlee had a great week of practice, and they've kind of involved him in more sets, and he's going to be on the field quite a bit today.
Yeah, Liberty is bringing pressure. We'll see if they check out, and they do. They change that look.
Snoop Connor. Snoop will get it inside the 20 down to the 16, but he is well shy of the line to gain, which is around the 8-yard line.
Yeah, and I don't think Coach Kiffin had any intention of really kicking that field goal at that point. The run was really just to set up the opportunity for them to get it closer to go for it here on 4th down.
They've gone for it 34 times this year. Last week, of course, probably want some of those back, but they are 24 or 24 of 34 on 4th downs. 71% completion rate. And it won't work there. Snoop Connor met immediately by Ahmad Walker, the freshman, with a big play, and it's a turnover on downs.
Peter Burns in the studio update. Georgia's won the last 7 games against Missouri and starting to trend like 8. Stetson Bennett finds Jermaine Burton. How about the accuracy of the deep ball? Getting it done. Knee would be down, but Zamir White punches it in. 16-3. All Dogs in Athens.
Thank you, PB. Georgia, the #1 team in the country and playing like it's here at 17-0 Ole Miss. And just a moment ago, the Rebels went for it on 4th down and did not convert. And they turn it over on downs. Out of the pistol formation, they'll hand it off. Big hole off that left side. There goes Joshua Mack with a 1st down over the 30.
Nice job of split zone here. You know, I'm really surprised that Liberty got away from this earlier on their previous 2 drives, because they had some success running the ball inside against that Ole Miss defense.
1st down and 10 from the 30. Mack with 58 yards on the ground. Willis again pump fakes, decides to tuck and run. This time was a good decision. He gets out of bounds and has the 1st down. Give him a dozen. Hey, tonight, SEC Football Final has you covered with biggest stories of the day and breakdowns of all the games. Dari Noka hosts along with Gene Chisholm, Chris Doering, and Benjamin Watson. 10:30 Eastern after Florida and South Carolina right here on the ESPN app as well. One app, one tap. SEC Football Final. C.J. Daniels goes in motion, but Willis will throw the other way, hoping his guy can make a play, and that one is dropped by Douglas. No flags, down around the 20-yard line.
DeAndre Prince there in coverage, and you see just a little bit of pressure inside. But that's one that you've got to win if you're Douglas in a one-on-one situation, and Prince does a nice job of getting his hand in there to kind of dig it out as well.
Willis now 3 of 7 for just 45 yards. 5 receiver set for the Flames, looking at 2nd down and 10. Over the middle, big collision. Pass is caught there by Shaw, and he'll pick up 9 hard yards. Mark Robinson laid the wood to him.
Yeah, late insertion by Campbell here, and Mark Robinson, he's sent into kind of the zone, and pretty good shot as he tries to dislodge the football there, but he led with his shoulder, so no targeting.
Robinson with 60 stops, had 9 last week. Had a career high 14 against Tennessee with a couple of sacks. 3rd and short, inside handoff, met at midfield, and he's not going to get enough for the 1st down. Looks like they're going to spot it inside the Ole Miss 49-yard line, which is where they have to get to. And again, Mark Robinson plugging that hole up.
Does a nice job of hitting this, and Mac, I think they're gonna measure this, but this is short. His second effort got him to this spot, but initially he was probably even shorter on that run. But if you're Liberty, you're thinking hard about going for it at this point.
6 tackles already for Robinson here in the 1st half. The senior out of Leesburg, Georgia, transferred in from Southeast Missouri.
He's a former running back.
Yeah.
When he came in here, he was a running back. And so basically moved over to the defensive side of the football, and he's made plays.
Well, that's a good switch.
Yeah.
Right? You think Malik Willis, when he left Auburn, there were a bunch of places that were courting him, but as a defensive back, but he was like, nah, I think I can still play the position. Liberty came available, and he's like, I think I could work in this offense.
Yeah, and I think it has worked out pretty well for him as well.
Liberty, 7 of 14 on 4th downs this year. Hugh Freeze keeps his offense on the field. It is 4th down and inches. They'll run it. 1st down. Joshua Mack had just enough room. The 5th-year senior out of Rochester, New York, picks up 4 and needed about 6 inches.
Liberty does a nice job on the double team block, and there's a crease in there. You've got Robinson that is in on the tackle, but way too late.
Cedro Lewis in at running back. Where's number 1? They like Lewis a lot. Probably their most versatile back, averaging just a little less than 5 yards a carry. And Ole Miss going to have to take a timeout.
First charge timeout, Liberty.
Getting things situated offensively on a 1st and 10. Down 17. Definitely need some points on this possession.
Jay's been watching Chris Doran, Peter Burns coming up with the Farm Ridge Halftime Report. We'll show you about how the Dogs rolling right now in Athens College Football Playoff. But what are you seeing right now?
I'm getting cheated. I was told there was going to be offense here, and it's been all about Ole Miss's defense. Great on 3rd down so far today.
I think part of it, Matt Corral's health too. That's what I'm worried about.
Nice to see him back.
Yeah.
Back to David.
Yeah, it's been about this Ole Miss defense today. They'll need to stand up here as Liberty trying to put some points on the board. They have been blanked here in the 1st half to this point. Ole Miss defense has been very, very solid. And as I say that, a big hole as Joshua Mack gashes him for a big gator down to the 25-yard line. A.J. Finley finally brings him down, but that's 21 yards.
Nice job, Bryce Matthews, of picking up Mark Robinson there. Ole Miss using the blitz again. Jake Springer coming off of the edge, and they don't have enough guys accounted for the gaps inside.
1st down and 10 from the 25. Mack with a big day on the ground, 62 yards on 10 carries. Willis will get it out to Mack. And here come a bunch of blue jerseys swarming to the football. He might have gotten a yard out of all that. Brought down by Tylen on the back end, first one there. But here's a look at what our quarterbacks have done today. Malik Willis just 54 yards through the air. He has been a tuck and run guy today.
Yeah, and I think, he's had some positive yards, but when you look at the sacks that Ole Miss has had so far, it takes away a little bit from that. But, I think one of the things that they have to do a better job is continue to hit some of those big plays down the field.
5 sacks for the Rebels defensively today. A couple of tight ends on this look. Willis, shoulder fake. Going to the wide side. That is picked off on the back end by Finley. He'll have it out to the 30-yard line. And that'll snuff out a Liberty drive with 2:55 on the clock before halftime.
Dave Finley reads this all the way. He reads it all the way. He's sitting back in that safety spot, and he is just waiting for Malik to kind of throw this pass. And that one, if anything that you could do, you've got to throw it, put it in a back shoulder situation, and, just try to force that safety to try to not have to get over the top. But that was easy. That's the second time that we've seen them run that play where they kind of try to fake the screen and then hit the vertical guy that's going up the field, and the safety Finley is all over it.
A.J. Finley with his first interception of the year. Hand it off. There goes Ely. Man, just give him just a step. His explosiveness through that hole is quite impressive.
He is so explosive, and we saw it really on his first carry.
Here goes Ely again, taking a couple of white jerseys with him out to midfield. That should be good enough for the first down.
Talk about Jalen Cunningham and Caleb Warren inside at those guard positions, just creating space for Ely, and he doesn't need a lot.
Corral again has some time. Will tuck and run, then slide. We'll pick up 5 yards.
Love the decision by Matt there to be able to, looks downfield, 2-man route to the right side. He doesn't like anything there, and he slides on after running for about 5 yards.
Little sidearm toss to John Rice Plumlee, who makes the catch around the 40. And they're going to give him enough for the first down.
I thought Liberty did a really nice job on their previous possession of bringing pressure, particularly off the edge. I don't know if Ole Miss handled it as well as they did early in the game. So Ole Miss went to running the football inside.
Plumlee goes in motion. Corral throws near side. Wide open Dennis Jackson. Cuts it back to the 5. Touchdown. 40 yards.
Well, Dave, you'll see here, when you bring pressure, you leave a lot of guys in one-on-one situation, and that time Dennis Jackson, he's just running that over route. We saw him do this earlier in the game, and this time he doesn't drop the football. He was really untouched on one of those over routes. He had a drop, but that one there, he's able to hold on to it. He's untouched as he goes into the end zone.
Boy, he was wide open. Point after, up and good from Costa. Dennis Jackson with his second touchdown reception of the year.
Wherever fun happens, Academy Sports and Outdoors is there.
Well, we've got 1:27 to go before halftime. Matt Corral, 10 of 14, 188. He could almost be perfect today. I think he's had one bad throw. He's had a couple of drops along the way, but it has been impressive for a guy playing really on one healthy ankle.
Well, when you're talking about the decision making as well, when to tuck the football, when to run, you talk about the distribution of the football. You've gotten a couple different guys involved from the offensive standpoint, and for him to see what the defense is doing to him and understand and know where he wants to go with the football, it's been night and day from him as a player this year to what we saw from Matt Corral last year.
22 NFL scouts in attendance today, including a couple of general managers, to watch the showdown between these two quarterbacks, Malik Willis and Matt Corral. And so far, Matt Corral has not disappointed. This kick will be taken at the 2-yard line by Shedro Lewis. Shedro out to the 20-yard line. Don't forget the Pride of the South coming up at halftime. You can catch them streaming live over on SEC Network Plus. We have got 1:21 on the clock before we get there. The boys in the studio will be breaking down the first half, and of course Georgia-Missouri game going on as well today.
If you're Liberty, you want to get something positive here before you end the half. Kind of take care of the football. You do get the ball back as you start the third quarter. See if Malik Willis can get anything going.
Again, Malik Willis dropped another sack. That is 6 in the first half, and that is a season high for the Rebels.
And I think Ole Miss is using a timeout here as well.
Timeout, Ole Miss. 30-second timeout.
Chance Campbell getting in the action again. A couple of sacks for their middle linebacker.
Chance Campbell gets a sack, but I mean, it really starts with Sam Williams. Second time we've seen him matched up against that tackle Schultz there, Tristan Schultz, and he just can't block him, in that one-on-one situation. If anything, you want help from the guard or at least the back out of the backfield, somebody to be able to help, kind of slow down Sam Williams. I mean, just putting him in one-on-one situations. He's loving that anytime he's looking at that look. And then you talked about Campbell just being able to insert and come up with the sack in that situation.
Sam Williams with a sack today has 9.5. Needs a half sack to tie the school record for sacks in a season. The way it's going today, he might just get that. Another big hole. This time it's Lewis. He'll get it out to the 30-yard line. And he'll be a little bit shy of the line to gain 15 yards. Jalen Jones brings him down. On 3rd and 1, they'll go with Lewis again. He has the first down and more. Spins off one man out over the 40 to the 43-yard line. Football ball comes loose. We're going to say Lewis at Liberty, of course, pointing he was down.
Well, I don't think he was down. I think they had stopped the forward progress. And, one referee from the side is marking him down, but I don't think he was, well, yeah, he was definitely
Yes, the runner was down. First down.
Yeah, when you go back and look at it, his knee is on the ground, but, Ole Miss is saying that no, he was still up. But they definitely punched it out. I think they're going to take a look at this. But from the original view, it looked like he was down. Ole Miss has a defender down right now on the field also. So they take a look at this play. Freshman Tyson Johnson.
So Mark Curls is talking to Lane Kiffin right now as we look at this play, and I think the explanation is the whistle stopped the play.
Yeah, I think you talk about forward progress, but also his knee is down in amongst those bodies, and for Ole Miss, you get an opportunity to kind of really have a free timeout in this situation. Liberty having some success running the football. It looked like it was Chance Campbell that was the individual that dug it out, but definitely down.
Mark Curls is talking to both these coaches from sideline to sideline, and Hugh Freeze obviously animated about the discussion.
Well, one of the reasons is because Ole Miss gets that free timeout, and so you had an injury Tyson Johnson. I mean, but at the same time, you know, it's almost like instead of them forcing Ole Miss back on the field to say, hey, look, let's continue to play ball, Ole Miss gets to, you know, make some adjustments and talk about what they want to do the rest of this drive, and that's what Coach Freeze is not happy about.
Willis dumps it off underneath. Pass caught there. Johnny Huntley, the tight end, will make the catch, and that'll be a timeout taken by Liberty now.
Second charge timeout, Liberty. 30-second timeout.
Well, Dave, you go back and look at it. This time they do put someone out there to kind of chip, and that was Huntley to kind of slow down Sam Williams and kind of help your tight end out a little bit there when you talk about not leaving him in a one-on-one situation.
Ole Miss, one other time this year, posted a first-half shutout. That came in their opener in Atlanta against Louisville. Trying to do that here. Liberty down 24-0. Remember, second play of the game, it seems like it was hours ago. Probably because it was. Jerrion Ely with 70 yards on the second play of the game to kick off the scoring today. And Ole Miss really hadn't looked back. Ely with 2 touchdowns on the ground. 3-man rush. And that'll be enough to get to Willis. They finally put him on the turf. Robinson, the first one there. Campbell came in late. That's a loss of 8, and that is sack number 7.
Cedric Johnson, you know, they're picking on this right tackle, you know, and he just can't get it done, and that Ole Miss defense is fired up.
Liberty will get the ball to start the second half, but a first half for Ole Miss to celebrate. They put up 24 points, but their defense was fantastic in the first 2 quarters. Lane Kiffin coaching on the way into the halftime locker room. Andrea Carter down there, and she's got the coach alongside right now.
Coach Kiffin, on offense, you wanted to get Jerrion Ely going and protect Matt Corral. How are you able to do that in the first half?
Well, Ely hit the big run early. We're trying to get Matt in some rhythm. Braylon hasn't played in a couple weeks, so trying to see if we can get him and Braylon on the same page, and obviously neither of them are 100%. So it's good to be up 24-0. We've got to keep playing well and get some other people in there now.
And a season high in sacks in the first half alone. What's been key for your defense being so effective?
Well, we've been aggressive. The rush has been good by the defensive ends, and we've contained the quarterback well.
Coach, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Up 24-0 here at home against the Liberty Flames. It's halftime here in Oxford. Time to get you to our studios.
Thank you, Dave Neal, Gene Chizik, Benjamin Watson, Chris Doran, Peter Burns. Welcome to the Farm Ridge Halftime Report and the return.
Welcome back to SEC Network Football presented by Allstate. It has turned out to be a gorgeous day here in Oxford. Yes, Deuce McAllister is here. He's watched Ole Miss take a 24-0 halftime lead. We're moments away from second half football. And Deuce, obviously we came in here, a couple of storylines. Hugh Freeze obviously coming back to Oxford where he had some success as the Ole Miss coach. And the quarterback story, Matt Corral, Malik Willis, 2 of the top quarterbacks in the country. Matt Corral looked really sharp throwing the football.
Yeah, he's done a nice job, particularly when you talk about the drop back pass game for Matt Corral, but also having that run game be able to be what it's been so far today has really been impressive. And you talk about that left side, Caleb Warren, Nick Brocker being able to open up holes, and we see Ely be able to take this one to the house early.
Yeah, second play of the game, he goes 70 yards. But this Ole Miss defense has to be the top story today. 7 sacks in that first half. They kept Malik Willis in check. Malik Willis, all told, 6 of 11, 59 yards through the air. And a loose football on the kickoff. And Liberty will retain possession. Already down 24 points. That could have been a devastating turnover and turn of events. Let's go down to Andrea.
Dave, I talked to head coach Hugh Freeze coming out of halftime, and he said it's a struggle on both sides. They can't get to Matt Corral on defense, and then on offense, they haven't been able to protect Malik Willis. I will say, while I was talking to Hugh Freeze, a ton of people came down from the stands to say, I love you, Hughes. We miss you, Hugh, and really excited about him being back. He had a big smile. He said he's proud of his team's effort. They need to play for 60 minutes.
They'll need to play some good football here. Their run game wasn't bad in the first half. As a matter of fact, almost all of their success really came on the ground, Deuce. They pick up 7 more there.
Yeah, I thought they did a really nice job of running inside the tackles, and here we see them be able to get outside. And, Ole Miss has lost contain a couple of times when you talk about that outside run game, but I thought Liberty did a nice job of running the football inside or in between the tackles.
Hugh Freeze setting foot inside this stadium and really on this campus since his departure in 2017. An emotional day for him and his family coming back here to where they have so many positive memories. And that's what he talked about this week in our meetings and with the media throughout the week is, hey, I'm gonna just remember the great things that we did. Great things, great times we had as a family with our friends. Because there was a lot of positive, and it certainly ended on a sour note, and that is pretty much an understatement. But he's going to relish those moments, and I think for the most part, it has been a welcoming visit here back to Oxford.
Yeah, I definitely think so, and you probably a critical 4th down opportunity here. Liberty backed up, and so far it looks like they're going to go for it. But just to be able to talk to Coach Freeze before, and just him be able to have his moment, I thought was pretty special.
Oh, they might have a free play here. Flags come out. Willis will go up top, and that one is batted away. But Ole Miss jumps off sides, and that'll be a 1st down.
And you probably got both of your defensive ends there were in the neutral zone.
Number 96, number 7 defense. Penalties 5 yards, results in a 1st down.
Eaton and Sam Williams not being disciplined there.
Willis. Boy, that's a nice throw. Moving left, throwing right, just threw a seed. That one's caught by Kevin Shaw.
That's the one thing you talk about, just the live arm that Willis has and being able to throw off a platform. And, you talk about the different throwing angles, whether it's over the top or a little side arm. But, he can definitely, he has a rifle for sure as far as an arm. And, it's just been impressive to watch him today. Hadn't gotten as much protection as maybe some of the other times this year, but when he has had time, he's been throwing nothing but rifles and just beautiful spirals.
From midfield, they'll run it here on 1st down. Nothing happening there. Robinson gets in the way, and he'll get credit for that tackle. This Liberty offense came in averaging 37 points a game. 16th in the country, but a goose egg on the board at this point.
David, talking to Coach Freeze earlier, the concern was the offensive line. Could they hold up against that Ole Miss front?
Here comes some pressure. Willis gets away. The throw, it's caught there after a bobble by Lewis, and he will have a 1st down. Nice job by Lewis to maintain possession as he picks up 14.
Nice decision here by Willis, and he's just really, Lewis has Chance Campbell outflanked already, and he just does a nice job of finally catching it and picking up the 1st down.
Good opening drive for Liberty out of the locker room. They've been down here 3 or 4 times today, but have no points. Handoff. Left side to Lewis. Lewis will pick up 7. Tyler Knight bringing him down.
Ole Miss rotating a lot of different guys at that linebacker position. Defensively, I think that, like you talked about, it was the run game is where probably they were not as good, but for the most part, they've been able to bottle up Willis
Lewis breaks a tackle, still on his feet. Stiff arm to the 5. He's in the end zone. Touchdown Flames, 28 yards.
Dave, you go back and look at this. This is just a one-back power play. It's just a nice job up front, just being able to block it, and then you get Lewis into the open field. He's able to make a guy miss. He gives another one a stiff arm, and he's in the end zone. And so, they were backed up early. They went for it on 4th down, but, they did a nice job, really, of being able to get it to the running back in space on the throw. Lewis, as far as the pass, but it was mainly the run game there where they were able to come out and score on that opening possession for the 3rd quarter.
Braden Beck to attempt this point after. And he's up and good. Good drive for Liberty out of that locker room. 8 plays, 75 yards for Hugh Freeze's offense. Time to check our celebration moment, brought to you by Allstate. Well, Hugh Freeze walking back in with his lovely wife Jill into the stadium for the first time since his exit back in 2017. You can tell that there's a lot of emotion there as they look up into the stands. A lot of hugs before the game. He said, "I'm down here in the field. If anybody wants to come by, say hello. I am there for you." Boy, it was amazing how many people came up to Coach Freeze. And he stayed in town. Lived a couple of miles east of town for a few years. Finally got that Liberty job and moved his family up to Lynchburg. But obviously an emotional day, and he said all the right things, but you just had to know last night it was probably tough for him to get to sleep. I did talk to Jill's wife today. She said it wasn't a problem for her. She had a good night's sleep. But here's kind of the timeline. When he got hired here, a lot of people around the league were like, "Oh, okay, Hugh Freeze, let's see what this is about." Had some great success at Arkansas State, but not a long tenure. But he proved that he certainly is one of the great offensive minds in college football. Took him to 3 straight bowl games, had a great Sugar Bowl win against Oklahoma State, and back-to-back years they knock off Alabama. But then it all started to unravel in January of 2016. That's when the allegations of some NCAA violations started to appear, and there just became a black cloud over this program. And they never really recovered, and then it came to a culmination in the summer of July of 2017. And it was a tough time for everybody, not just for the Freezes, but the Ole Miss community on how this all went down. And the excitement around the program was so high, and for it to be crushed like that. Lucy, you're a part of this family, this community, and I'm just curious from your perspective, how was it from an outside looking into your family when that all went down?
Oh, you're hurt. I mean, and you were excited to be up on the upper echelon as far as teams in college football. I mean, but for that to all happen, you definitely were disappointed and hurt.
John Rice Plumlee, the intended receiver there. There'll be flags coming out. And look, it took a while. Matt Luke had to try to rebuild this thing, and it never really got cranked up until Lane Kiffin got here and brought this high-powered, high-octane offense.
Pass interference, 23 defense. The penalty includes a first foul.
Well, you lost a lot of momentum. You talk about. Take a look at the Plumlee interference play, and probably a little bit early there, Cedric Stone. But you lost a lot of momentum as far as, from alumni as well as, just excitement.
Ely had a great first half. They'll pick up 6.5 yards there. Elijah James bringing him down. Don't forget, we have got an awesome rest of the day of football coming your way right here on the SEC Network. Mississippi State and Arkansas, 4 o'clock Eastern time, capped off by Florida and South Carolina. That'll be followed by SEC football final, as the boys will break down all the day's activities, including this game here. Henry Parrish in the backfield. Over the middle, John Rice Plumlee Makes the catch, gets popped around the 23 by Cedric Strone and Javon Scruggs, but that's a gain of 15.
Dave, this drive, it's been Ely and it's been Plumlee for the most part for this Ole Miss offense as they methodically move down the field.
Plumlee comes off a little pick. There's got to be a flag for that. Yeah, Dennis Jackson. That was a heck of a pick and roll play by Jackson.
Normally you can do it 1 yard down the field, but Dennis Jackson is obviously more than 1 yard down the field, and you know that's a young player that just made a mistake, and that's pass interference.
Offense blocking downfield on a pass across the neutral zone. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
If it's right at the line of scrimmage or 1 yard down the field, then it's clean. But when he looked like he caught that football, it was about 3 yards down the field, and it's probably really the first mistake from an offensive standpoint that Ole Miss has made on this drive.
So they'll line up in the same formation. Wonder if they go back to that play again. They'll keep it on the ground here. Parrish on that carry. He'll pick up 3.5, maybe 4.
Well, you'll see him run a fake off of that variation if they get the right look defensively.
And Corral will slide down at the 25. So it'll be 3rd down. Actually, they'll spot him back where that slide started at the 28. So looking at about 3rd down and 6. Corral. We'll get it down to the 20-yard line. Actually, I forgot it said 3rd down. It's 3rd down 16, not 6. So they'll give 7 there. So 4th down and 9.
Dave, this is back-to-back plays, and probably the play before. Matt kind of grimaces in here. He's running again and doesn't really come down on that ankle, and he gets up slowly, kind of jogs off, and I think that's something to kind of watch. We know he's been protecting that ankle, and back-to-back plays where he's had to run.
Here's the 38-yard field goal attempt from Caden Costa. The snap is good. The kick is on the way, and he just blisters that one through the uprights. The youngster having a heck of an opening season for the Ole Miss Rebels. They add to their lead. It's 20 here at home.
SEC Network Football, presented by Allstate, is brought to you by Mercedes EQ.
The Grove, early morning. Had to get up, put the chandeliers up early today. Liberty came a calling. By the way, the Flames headed to Conference USA moving forward. They've been an independent in football. But they're about to make a change and start playing for some championships. They have put together back-to-back Cure Bowls under Hugh Freeze.
Well, you're talking about a program that's bowl eligible as well right now, so they will be going bowling again.
Cedric Stone on that return. Hey, don't forget tomorrow we'll have the Women's Soccer Tournament Championship match for you right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Number 1 seeded Arkansas squares off against 2nd seeded Tennessee. That's coming your way 2 o'clock Eastern time from Orange Beach Sportsplex down in Orange Beach, Alabama.
Dave, on that first drive, Ole Miss defensively were experimenting with some personnel.
Yeah.
Chance Campbell and Mark Robinson back in at linebacker.
That didn't take long, did it?
Not at all.
Yeah. Get the 2 big boys back in there. Doesn't seem to matter here as Malik Willis with one of his best quarterback runs of the day, pushed out of bounds by Tylen Knight. But so far today, when you look at from a numbers perspective, this has gone Matt Corral's way. Willis 8 of 13 through the air, just 86 yards. Corral 13 of 17 for 216. These two quarterbacks, depending on who you ask, Malik Willis and Matt Corral, both considered top 4 quarterbacks in the upcoming draft. Mel Kiper has him number 2 and 4, Willis 2, Corral 4, and Todd McShay has him 1 and 2 on his board.
And I think, it'll come down to the workouts. Anytime that you play in a wide open system, they want to see if you can do some of the traditional things from a quarterbacking standpoint. But when you talk about movement, you talk about arm strength, both of these young men have all of that. It'll be them trying to check some other boxes.
There's Willis. He'll slide down. Right on that Ole Miss logo. Pick up. They'll spot him back at the 46, so a gain of 6.5, maybe 7 there for Willis.
Maybe one of the adjustments that Liberty has made is being able to help against Sam Williams as well.
Here comes some pressure. Pass is caught! Ha! C.J. Daniels on his backside, popped it up in the air, and it fell right in his belly.
Does that count as 2 catches?
He'll take 2 for sure.
A double catch. Ole Miss with the late pressure from depth, and Willis kind of sees it off coverage from Prince. Nice job of focusing.
Willis, far side, up in the air, and that one is caught, and a flag comes in. They're going to say incomplete.
Incomplete, but the flag's still there. They may get him for offensive pass interference.
Pass is incomplete. Pass interference number 81, offense. 15-yard penalty, replay first down.
Noah Frith goes up. He's matched up against Jalen Jones, and he gets away with a little push there, and his foot does come down out. He was able to tap one, but the left one that came down first was out of bounds, but they do get him for the pass interference there on Jalen Jones. False start, right guard.
They're just backing up now. First and 25. It'll now be first and 30.
False start, number 55, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Get those defensive ends that kind of like to stem outside. They start right maybe in outside eye of the guard, and then they stem out.
Delay handoff, and Lewis out over the 45 to the 47. Nice gain there. Close to midfield, picks up 14, so second down and still a long way to go. They got to get the ball all the way down to the Ole Miss 37.
Keep running the football. You've got a light box. You've got them outmatched, outnumbered.
Willis slings it. Far side, and pass is caught. Forward progress. Let's see where they spot that. Up around the 44-yard line. Wholesale changes on third down. At least it's manageable now for the Flames.
Yeah, definitely manageable. Kevin Shaw does a nice job of being able to come back to the quarterback on that reception. Jalen Jones in coverage.
DJ Green will check in at running back wearing number 15. The tight end in motion, works to the left side. Keep it on the ground. TJ Green with a first down. And then a face mask, I believe, came in a little bit late at the end of that play. It was first down and 30, and they converted.
Well, just continue to run the football. I mean, because they've got the numbers as far as the box is concerned.
Personal foul, face mask number 7, defense. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run, first down.
The way that Ole Miss defensively, you're putting a lot of stress and pressure on your secondary to be the guy that has to come up and make that tackle instead of guys staying square from a run concern. And there's Sam Williams with the face mask there. They kind of pick a side, and once they do that, you're making that safety. He has to be right every time.
Wow, so now it's first down and 10 from the 14-yard line. Willis spins. He's popped around the 10. 5-yard gain there. A.J. Finley, the first one on the spot. A.J. now with 8 tackles today and an interception.
This is where Willis loves to keep the football and run it. You see it there on that first play.
Willis has been involved in 30 touchdowns on the year, whether it's throwing them or running for them. 30. Willis trying to get out of trouble. He may have just done it. Needs a block on the edge. Dives toward the end zone. He's going to be just shy. They'll spot him around the 1. Jalen Jones was there to save the touchdown. He picks up 8.
Yeah, I mean, he just makes guys miss. I mean, you're really trying to run inside here, and Ole Miss is, they can't tackle. He gets into space, and he's a ton to bring down.
Rebels have had 6 missed tackles today. Many of those
against 31's helmet came off during the play. He must remain out of the game for 1 play.
And we've got an injured Rebel on the goal line.
Katie Hill.
So we'll step aside as they attend to KD. 27-7, but Flames looking like they're going to score.
Time for the AT&T 5G studio update. Poor Jermaine Burton had 2 catches and got stopped on the 1-yard line. That's all right. Stetson Bennett says take this one to the house. Touchdown Dogs, 33-3 in Athens.
Missouri got off that 3-0 lead, and it's been all Georgia. Now Liberty trying to punch it in for their 2nd touchdown here of the 3rd quarter, but Ole Miss stands tall. That'll be a loss of a couple of yards on what was a 1st and goal situation. Now 2nd and goal.
It's a really nice job. You talk about penetration, guys being able to hit it. Otis Reese is the safety that's responsible, for being able to make plays. And when you get in that red zone, everything gets condensed down.
Katie Hill, by the way, left for a play. He's back in the game now. So 3rd and goal from the 3. Option game. Willis cuts it back on a dime. Nobody touched him. Touchdown, Liberty.
Nice play call here by Coach Hugh Freeze, and Malik Willis is able to run in untouched. You put your back in the motion hitch guy, and nobody is there for the quarterback. Campbell goes outside with the running back, but nobody's able to get off the block to pick up the quarterback, and Malik walks into the end zone.
Don't look now. We got ourselves a 2-score game. Braden Beck trying to make it a 13-point contest, and he does so. So after being shut out in the first half, Liberty in their first 2 possessions of the 3rd quarter chew up some clock, pick up 2 touchdowns, and Flames right back in it.
Yeah, and I think what's important, Dave, it's not field goals that they had to attempt. You had one play earlier, I guess on that first drive where it was 4th and short, backed up on their end. You get two players for Ole Miss to jump off sides, and that allowed them to continue to advance. And, you make your adjustments, and they've scored 2 touchdowns here as we start this 3rd quarter.
We saw Matt Corral limping around a little bit in that last possession for Ole Miss, offensive possession. And you and I were talking during the break. It's like you need some of that separation if you're Lane Kiffin to get him off the field. But with a score like this unless he's physically unable. You got to keep running him out there.
Yeah, and he has his helmet back on. He's right there on the white as far as to come back on the field, and so don't expect him to come out of this game, particularly with it being that close, like you kind of said. And so, we've seen that Ole Miss offense be explosive, score in 1 or 2 plays, and that's one of the things that they're going to have to kind of do here as they get the football back is try to score fast again.
Well, Liberty in that first half had 162 yards of total offense. On their 2 drives in the second half, they picked up 149. What have they done differently?
Just run the football.
Yeah, simple as that. That'll roll through the end zone. Let's see how Ole Miss answers the call here. They still lead it by 13. 1:08 to go. Let's go down to Andrea.
I've just been impressed by Matt Corral and his leadership. During that last drive, he walked over to wide receiver coach Derek Nix for a little bit and then stood in front of his receivers and demonstrated what to look for as far as the defenders and their body positions. He sat down for a little bit, but as the drive continued, he got back up, talked to his offensive line, talked to his receiver, said, hey, we need 7, get ready, let's go. He's banged up physically, but he's locked in.
Inside handoff goes to Snoop Connor. Haven't seen a whole lot of Snoop today. It has been Jerrion Ely. But here is a look at what Andrea was talking about. Corral, see if his coaching works. Dennis Jackson with a reception out to the 43-yard line. That'll be a first down, a gain of 15.
And you can see just him going to line up, there's a noticeable limp that he has.
Play fake to Connor. John Rice Plumlee has great speed. Can he split 2 defenders? He'll pick up an extra 5 yards inside the 25. Thomas and McGinnis bring him down. A gain of 33.
That's just a rifle, he splits the defense as far as with the throw, and Plumlee is there to catch it clean.
Snoop Connor off the right side. Falls forward for 3. Ole Miss today has run 40 plays. Remember, they average 79 plays a game.
End of the third quarter.
That'll do it for the third quarter. Ole Miss driving, trying to extend their lead.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff semifinals. Friday, December 31st on ESPN.
Run it.
Matt Corral and company lead at 27-14 starting the fourth quarter. Don't forget Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, week 2 of the college football playoff top 25. And of course, there was a bunch of discussion about the first edition of the college football playoff rankings. And I think everybody's scratching their head about Cincinnati being left out of that top 4. Deuce, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm definitely scratching my head. I mean, all they've done is win, and that's all you can, whoever's on your schedule, you play to win.
Little tap pass. Ely coming around, just slips right on that SEC logo. But here's what it looked like after the first week. And Georgia clearly the #1 team. Alabama sits there at #2. I think some people may be a little confused that Alabama with 1 loss sit in that spot. Michigan State at 3 and Oregon at 4. But Cincinnati at 6. And people talk about their schedule, but I mean, heck, they beat the 10th ranked team in the country.
Yeah, I mean, 6 is the problem when you talk about Cincinnati. I think they obviously deserve to be higher.
Matt Corral with a quick hitter across the middle to John Rice Plumlee, and now it's 4th down as that one is incomplete. Scruggs in on coverage. And this time, Lane Kiffin going to bring out the field goal unit.
Scruggs does a nice job of dislodging this ball when you talk about just the catch that you have to have from John Rice Plumlee. Like you said, this Liberty team is making it very, very interesting here in the second half.
Caden Costa has hit from 43, from 38. He'll try to hit from 41 out of the far hash mark. Boy, he's got an exceptional leg, but that one is missed to the right, and Liberty has some life here in the fourth quarter. No points for the Rebels. It's a 13-point game. Time to take a look at the bold move brought to you by Velveeta, and it's really the third quarter belonged to Liberty after being blanked in the first half. They held the football for over 10 minutes of that third quarter, had 2 touchdowns. Malik Willis, a big part of that. Great little play here, but Deuce, the third quarter, things completely turned, and what happened? Why?
Well, I think they got back to running the football. I think that was one of the critical things. You were able to slow down the pass rush, being able to help out your tackles, and then just running the football has been the difference.
Liberty's had the football for 31 minutes in this game. Ole Miss just a little bit over 14. Willis makes a man miss, and he'll have a first down as he gets on the turf. Well, there was a golden opportunity for Tylen Knight, but Malik Willis saw him just in time.
Yeah, and you're talking about unblocked, and so Malik Willis just is able to have that feel, and Tylen has to be able to break down, and he doesn't do it. And we see the big gainer by Malik.
Tylen's thinking about a highlight, right? And next thing you know, Malik's got the highlight. Quick hitter to the outside. Mario Douglas with that reception. By the way, while we're in a commercial break, I was watching down on the Ole Miss sideline. Jalen Jones headed off into the Ole Miss locker room area, and he has not returned as of yet. It's been a relatively healthy Ole Miss defense for the most part this year. Big hole off the right side for Chetro Lewis, and he drives over midfield to the Rebel 48-yard line.
And you just have to really be impressed with the job that this offensive line has done in the second half, them being able to control that front three of Ole Miss, and then being able to get bodies up as far as on those 2 linebackers. That Ole Miss defense, they put a lot of pressure and stress on the safeties to have to make the tackle, and so far in the second half they haven't been able to do it.
Joshua Mack back in at running back. He's gained 89 yards on the ground today. Not much happening there as Jake Springer steps up to make a play defensively. It'll be second down and 10.
Yeah, nice job by Springer being able to hit this play from behind and just really chase it down before they were able to. Joshua Mack was able to get to the edge.
Liberty's rushed for 230 yards this afternoon. Ole Miss giving up about 184 yards a game this year. Here's Mack. A little bit of room, runs right into Tylen Knight. Whistle will stop that at the 43. So third down and about 5.5 maybe.
Dave, you talked about those rushing numbers, and any time that you get a light box like Ole Miss likes to play with, just 3 down linemen, 2 linebackers, they try to bring the pressure off of the edge. You talk about Springer or Otis Reese, that puts a lot of stress and pressure on them to have to make the tackle. Because once those offensive linemen, they get up on those original 5 in that box, it's just one-on-one.
Willis 11 of 16 for 109 yards through the air. Quick hitter and dropped. Oh, that was there. DJ Stubbs had it right in the numbers. And now it's fourth down. What will Hugh Freeze want to do?
Well, he was going to go for it. But this is just a slant. And there's no one out there. A nice throw, and it goes right through his hands. He's matched up on Tylen Knight. It goes right through Stubbs' hand, and that's one where you say, hey, look, you got to catch it before you run. If I get 5 in the box again, I'm probably giving my quarterback the option to run it.
Fourth down, here we go.
You can see Ole Miss bringing pressure. You've got those safeties walking down into the box. They're showing both linebackers in the A gap. Now they kind of check out of it. Hugh Freeze is going to call timeout.
First charge timeout, Liberty.
A big-time fourth down on the horizon for the Liberty Flames here in the fourth quarter. Back in a moment.
SEC Network Football is presented by Allstate. Save money like a champion with Allstate. And in part by new Coca-Cola Zero Sugar and Wendy's Hot and Crispy Fries. Try the best combo ever today.
Well, that's what it looked like in the first half for Malik Willis as Ole Miss got to him 7 times. 7 sacks in the first half, but nothing here in the second half. But it's a fourth down and 4.5 now for the Flames from the 42-yard line.
On the opening drive, they had a fourth down opportunity. They were backed up. You had two players for Ole Miss, Eaton and Sam Williams, that jumped off sides. Before the timeout, Ole Miss was showing pressure. Right now, it doesn't look like they're bringing anything.
Willis flushed out of the pocket, looking to throw. Sidearm is incomplete. And the Rebels get the stop.
Dave, when you go back and look at this, Ole Miss is, the first guy that's a late inserter is Chance Campbell. Both of the linebackers are late inserters. They're following Willis kind of where he goes. On the pass reception, it's a matchup against Noah Frith and Smith. Keydron Smith is the guy that's covering him. But both linebackers are responsible for the quarterback run in that situation. And so a nice job by Campbell inserting late, and then Mark Robinson is the guy that kind of really forces the throw by Malik Willis there.
The Rebels take over. Corral back in at quarterback. They'll get it at the 42. Low snap. Corral flushed, stops, and flag comes out.
It's the block. It's against Ely. It's a blindside block. It's a blindside block against Ely there. We're talking to Coach Freeze, but that's a blindside block against Ely.
Personal foul, illegal blindside block, number 9 offense. The penalties decline. The result of the play is second down.
Yeah, and this is a play that they try to kind of take out of football, and it's just a blindside block. And, as Corral tries to cut inside, he kind of slips down, and so.
But didn't he? I mean, he got his head out in front of him, it looked like.
Yeah, but you can't do it, and here's a rule for it. If the opponent can't see you, the only thing that you can do is probably maybe shield him.
They talk about using your arms in that situation, right? Just kind of push him out of the way as opposed to delivering a blow.
That's supposed to be a penalty on Ole Miss.
Yeah, boy, Hugh Freeze is jumping up and down about something.
Yeah, well, it was a penalty. Ole Miss had too many guys, and the quarterback was under center. And here's a delay of game snap.
Before the snap, delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
You see what Coach Freeze is upset about. Ole Miss tried to run a guy out on the field, and it gave him 12. The quarterback was technically, behind the center in line.
Ready for play.
Ready for play. And so Coach Freeze, you saw him run probably about 10 to 15 yards down the field trying to say that's a penalty.
There was a substitution. Play was held up. Play clock expired. Delay of game, second down.
Either way, Liberty gets the 5 yards.
That's exactly right. And so now from an Ole Miss defense, from an Ole Miss offense, after your defense gives you the turnover on downs, you've backed up 20 yards in penalties.
Boy, second down and 23 now. Corral throws over the middle. John Rice Plumlee, he'll be close to the line to gain. Let's see, they're going to spot it at the 49 of Liberty. That's a yard shy, but a gain of 22.
False start against Ole Miss.
The full snap. False start. Number 5, offense. 5-yard penalty, third down.
Well, they get Jackson, but you look inside. There's probably on your tight end as well.
Right.
Casey Kelly was moving, and self-infliction as far as wounds here by this Ole Miss offense. Pick up a big gainer, and then you back yourself up from a 3rd and short situation, and now they're gonna bring Ely back into the game.
Parrish checks out. Liberty not going to substitute. He'll come near side with it to Ely. Ely will turn the corner and have the first down. He'll get it all the way to the 44-yard line, a gain of 10.
And you see the explosion. We talked about it earlier. He's explosive.
Ely, inside handoff, falls forward. A couple of yards. Jerion Ely up over 100 yards today. Of course, he Started the morning with a 70-yard touchdown run on the second play of the game. And for Ely, now has 5 100-yard games as that one is incomplete, trying to hit Ja'Cour Pearson down that near sideline.
That time you get Liberty bringing some pressure, and Ely has the job of picking up that linebacker in the A-gap. Does his job, but probably sped up the clock for your quarterback because he sees it in his face there. And one of probably not a lot of misses there by Matt Corral as far as the throw is concerned.
3rd down and 7. Corral tipped at the line of scrimmage. That is incomplete. No flags. It's 4th down.
Because of the tip, that's why you don't have a flag. You know, and I know the referee is going to get involved here as well, but it's the pressure. It's the pressure, and it's Harding that's hitting it on the A-gap. Even though Ole Miss has the pressure, I mean, have the receiver coming outside, it's Harding that tips that pass.
Corral.
It's penalty. Ole Miss is not lined up right. Jackson and Plumlee, false start. They were late getting lined up.
3rd time this possession.
False start. Offense, all 11 players were not set before the snap. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
And now Lane has to punt the football. Lane has to punt the football. He was going for it on 4th down.
I don't know with him if you could ever say that it's a certainty.
Yeah.
But he will bring the punt team.
He didn't want to.
Yeah.
From an offensive standpoint, that was a sloppy drive. He didn't want to. He was definitely going for it, but, you know, you never got lined up.
I think that's a great way to describe that possession, just sloppy.
And now Ole Miss can't line up the punt team.
Because they don't punt that much. They haven't practiced this a lot. Mac Brown. And that one will go out of bounds. Where will they spot it? They will give Liberty the football at the 18 when we come back.
Burns with the studio update. It's been all dogs in Athens. We were curious, when would we see JT Daniels? How about this? Little flip pass out to Ladd McConkey, his 3rd touchdown of the season. JT Daniels' 1st touchdown since September the 25th, 40-3 Dogs.
Good to see JT back out there getting some work for the Bulldogs.
Young man that I thought would have been in the Heisman conversation. He probably would have been with that defense if he hadn't got hurt this year.
Well, Liberty down 13. We'll start this drive from the 18, and they'll pick up 12 and a 1st down. The SEC college basketball season tips off Tuesday. We'll have a doubleheader for you. Rick Barnes and 18th-ranked Tennessee host Tennessee Martin in Knoxville, 7 o'clock Eastern. Then we'll switch gears and head over to Alabama. Crimson Tide and Louisiana Tech will come your way at roughly 9 o'clock Eastern time. Hoops is here, folks. Last night, this Ole Miss team, Kermit Davis got a new contract extension here for Ole Miss, but last night had a little trouble in their exhibition against Trevecca, but ended up winning that one.
Joyner had a really nice game. Jarkill.
Malik Willis breaks a tackle, still on his feet. Malik Willis across midfield. They will spot him, though, back at the midfield stripe. But a 1st down for Willis and the Flames.
Well, he's just been electric in this second half. Probably wasn't his best effort in that first half. I mean, but he has done any and everything that he needed to do in this second half. And I mean, he has just put so much stress on that Ole Miss defense, not only just to be able to throw the football, but just making people miss.
Pressure comes. Willis stands in that pocket, fires, pass caught. Flag comes down, though, in that Liberty backfield. C.J. Daniels on the reception.
It's going to be holding against Liberty.
Holding, number 59, offense. 10-yard penalty, replay 2nd down.
Well, explains why Willis had so much time to throw the ball.
1st down.
Well, one of the things that I like really here that he's been able to do, Malik, is even though there's pressure coming, you see that he's calm in the pocket. And there you see the hold by Bounds. I think that was Lakia Henry was who he hailed.
Again, a huge day for NFL scouts. 22 on hand, including some general managers for the National Football League on hand to watch this one. Trying to set up a screen and almost picked off. Chance Campbell had a chance.
Dave, they won't get any better than this. Campbell is in his zone, and he sees it. He sees it. 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pressure, 1 pass breakup, and it should have been 1 interception. I mean, because that hits him right in the hands.
Chance.
Hit it twice.
Chance. Willis. Bodies flying everywhere. Malik throws on the run, and it's caught at the 38. First down, Flames. 22-yard pickup. Brody Brum.
Dave, one of the things we talked about was not allowing Malik to beat you with his legs. That time he's able to create enough, time to be able to beat you with his legs and his arms. Willis.
Oh, as he gets walloped at the 48-yard line. Cedric Johnson came in untouched.
That one hurts. I mean, Malik, he sees him late, but I mean, that's where you're just matched up one-on-one, and that one hurts.
Second sack for Cedric Johnson. Nowhere to run. TJ Green stuffed at the line. First sack in the second half a moment ago after 7 in the first frame. A season high. The school record, by the way, is 11 sacks for Ole Miss back in 2008 against Mississippi State. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Third down and forever. Willis. Pocket collapses. He loses the football.
Liberty recovered it. They had an offensive lineman that picked it up late, but Sam Williams was the guy that forced it or popped that ball out, but I'm not sure who has it. It looks like Liberty does have it, and
Boy,
Sam Williams is down.
Oh,
yeah.
boy. It looks like he is in some serious pain. Bodies went flying everywhere as soon as that ball hit the turf, and Sam Williams, the only one not able to get up. Oh, boy. We'll step aside. Back to Oxford in a moment.
As we get a little bit later in the season, we'll look outside the footprint of the college football playoff landscape. Nebraska down 13. Adrian Martinez in his 19th year of eligibility in Lincoln, I believe, gets a little bit closer. 23-17. Nebraska still down to the Buckeyes.
Thanks, PB. Sam Williams got up in some pain and walked to the sideline. He is out right now after picking up that sack on that last play, but it's 4th down and 23 now for the Flames. They'll send Lewis in motion, and now they're going to run the punt team out.
Ole Miss, for defensively, he had defense out there, so it's defensive stay basically out there for him. Springer's the regular return guy anyway, so he's the guy that goes back deep.
Springer will stand at the 25. This will bound into the end zone for a touchback. So let's go back to that sack, which goes to Sam Williams. On the play that he sets the school record for season sacks, now with 10.5, he gets hurt.
Does a really nice job of just coming around the horn, and he's the guy that knocks this play out. I'm interested to see right away he grabs or reaches for that left hip area, and like you said, Dave, he was able to walk up off the field, but you could tell he was in a lot of pain. But he looks like a different player from what he was last year to kind of what he has been this season, and hopefully that injury is not too bad for him.
8 tackles today, a couple of sacks, 2 pressures, a forced fumble. Talked to him yesterday at length. He said he'd been working on a secondary move because guys are starting to double team him, chip him all the time. He's got to have that secondary move to get to the quarterback. Here is a tap pass to John Rice Plumlee. It's a big gainer out over the 35 to the 37-yard line. Cedric Stone pushes him out of bounds.
This is just pure speed. You know, it's a pass by Matt here, and it's just getting guys on the edge. And Plumlee is so fast. His tight end never even had a chance. Casey Kelly never even had a chance to get his hands on the blocker. You know, Plumlee outruns it.
Deron Lowe will leave the game. The UTEP transfer. Slow, get back on his feet. The first down and 10 now for the Rebels. Those are the great pass plays for quarterbacks that you love, right? As John Rice Plumlee picks up the big gain to put Matt Corral over 300 yards through the air. Here is Plumlee again. Nice cut to midfield. Rashad Harding with the tackle. Don't forget, a couple more games coming your way right here on the network, starting with a good one. Mississippi State and Arkansas, then Florida and South Carolina to wrap up the night at 7:30 Eastern Time. Ely, flag comes in. So Matt Corral hobbling around, 20 of 27 for 324. He's also rushed it 5 times for 15 yards.
And also, he's probably not hurt. You know, he's probably tucking it and running a little bit more as well.
Holding, number 64 out. That's 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Well, it's Corral's 10th 300-yard game.
Fouls by the team ahead of the score. We're going to start the clock on the snap.
First down and 20. Arion Ely, over 100 yards today. Will pick up 1.
Dave, we talked about, you know, maybe Matt Corral not playing completely as far as this game was concerned. And, you know, outside of one snap that you had Plumlee taking a direct snap, he's been in the game the whole time.
Right.
You know,
We thought he might split him out wide like that play we saw with John Rice Plumlee lining up at quarterback and do the run game that Matt Corral usually does, but we've only seen it once. But Plumlee has been a major factor today in their offensive game plan.
Yeah, definitely. I think getting him the football was one of the things that they wanted to do, missing so many other guys, and he's been effective in that role.
Here's Plumlee. They hand it off to him, and that is well read defensively by the Flames as Trayshawn Clark making a nice play, a loss of 8. But there's Sam Williams.
Timeout, Liberty. Please reset the game clock to 3:36. 3:36 on the game clock. This is a 30-second timeout.
He keeps working on that left hip.
So Liberty had saw kind of the pop pass twice work already, and this time Ole Miss puts him in motion, and they're going to hand it to him, and they're all over it. Trayshawn Clark said, not anymore. You've run that enough this drive.
Liberty running out of time. Hugh Freeze calls a timeout, 3:36 to go. 3rd and 21 now from the 40-yard line.
What does the analytics book say here? Is it to run the football and force him to use a timeout again? Or you like your quarterback and you're going to say, I'm going to throw it?
I'll let Matt Corral make that decision. They're going to throw it, or attempt to throw it. Corral is dropped, sacked back at the 34. And Liberty will take another timeout. Story Jackson with his second sack
Third
today.
and final charge timeout, Liberty. 30-second timeout.
It's the late pressure. It's the green dog. Story comes up with the sack there, but I mean he's probably the guy that's guarding Snoop Connor. And so, you know, for him to not have anybody there, Story Jackson, he's just a late guy that goes ahead. Once he sees Snoop is blocking, Story Jackson just goes ahead and gets after the quarterback, and he's able to come up with the sack.
He's another guy that's changed positions. He only played 1 year at linebacker before transferring to Liberty. So coaches were telling us he has just improved game by game. So Ole Miss will punt it away. Fair catch called for by one. Yeah, if you're going to run a double safety, if one guy calls fair catch, the ball will be dead.
Yeah, the ball is dead, but did it hit an Ole Miss player as well? The ball is dead, though. That situation.
Yeah, they're going to
so,
spot it back at the 22-yard line.
Yeah. I thought when it first hit the ground, maybe it hit an Ole Miss player, and that would have been around closer to the 30, but they're going to spot it at the 22. So they're talking about it. One guy called fair catch.
Receiver gave a fair catch signal. After the ball was recovered, it is dead at that spot. First down.
Yeah, DJ Stubbs called fair catch. So Sam is okay. He's back out on the field for that Ole Miss defense as well.
Liberty's got to go fast. Willis. He'll be hit at around the 35-yard line. Check out our great performance brought to you by State Farm, and for that it's our quarterbacks. In the second half, Malik Willis has been really good. Matt Corral's been steady all day despite playing on that hobbled ankle. 324 yards through the air for Corral. Here's Willis. Flag comes in. What do you make of these two guys today?
Well, I don't think either one of them have hurt their chances when you talk about being first round.
Holding, number 65 offense. 3-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
When you talk about both of these guys being prospects in the NFL, I think both of them have the ability to be able to obviously run the football, but as a passer, they've done a pretty good job.
Inside handoff goes Shedro Lewis. He's out to the 39, gain of 16. His clock continues to run now at 2:34 and moving.
Sam Williams is down that hip, that left hip area. He's tried to fight through it, but surprised that he even came back out on the field for that.
I'm with you.
It looked like they taped it and probably put some heat or something on it, but that's what they're telling him. You got to get out of here.
Clowney will check in for him, the redshirt freshman out of Baltimore. And Sam Williams tried to give it a go. Let's hope he's all right for the remainder of the year. He's been fun to watch this season. Fun to watch. Probably a real pain to play against.
Well, particularly if you're going to leave him one-on-one. I mean, that speed, his get-off is really good.
Chance Campbell comes in late, forcing Willis to run for it. He'll have the first down out to the 47-yard line. It's a gain of 7.
See Robinson try to rush it, and he doesn't have the speed, nearly the speed as Sam Williams.
Quick hitter. That pass is caught. Finally on the ground at the Ole Miss 47, Brody Brum. Under 2 minutes to go. Willis throws a seed inside the 30 down to the 27-yard line. That one goes to the tight end, Huntley. Gain of 20.
Right behind Tyler Knight on the go route.
Willis will keep it here. He's to the 20. Clock's going to continue to move, though. 134, 133.
His helmet came off. And they don't have a timeout. He's got to come out. backup quarterback. I think that's going to be Bennett that's coming into the game for one play at least.
Liberty is out of timeouts. I know the screen showed you there was one, but they have no timeouts left. And the clock starts right away. So Bennett checks in after sitting over there on the bench for 3.5 hours. And hey, man, you got to make a good throw. Lofts it up in the air, and he does. They're going to say the catch is made around the 2-yard line by Demario Douglas.
This is a really, really nice throw. He does. He makes that catch. He gets 2 feet down, actually. Guess they want to take a look at it.
Royal field of a completed pass is under further review.
Dave, like you said, Bennett on the side. I mean, he comes in cold. He is absolutely cold, and that is a dart. That's again complete. He lost it. Once he hit the ground, he lost the football. Originally, he has it, and once he hits the ground, he loses control of the football. He ended up actually catching it twice, but you don't control it all the way through, and so I'll let the officials kind of figure this one out. I did see him kind of bobble it there once he came down, but once he hit the ground, he did catch it again, but there's no question that he got 1 foot down, but he loses control of the football when he hits the ground, but he does catch it again.
After further review, the pass is incomplete. The receiver did not maintain control of the ball going to the ground. It'll be 3rd and 4 at the 21-yard line.
And there's your answer.
Yep.
That is really a nice throw on the corner route there by Bennett as well.
Well, they'll line it back up again at the 22-yard line. Malik Willis back in the game.
Yeah, they got to get the sticks right. They don't have the sticks right.
At least the clock stopped for Liberty at 1:19. Willis, quick slant. That'll be a first down, so it'll stop for a moment. They go to Douglas. Gain of 5. Regardless of the outcome today, this has been some kind of effort by Liberty. Sam Williams back in the game as this one's lofted into the end zone and picked off. A.J. Finley, his 2nd interception, will end this game.
That's the one, if you're Malik Willis, that you want back. You're throwing across your body back to the middle of the field, and I'm going to tell you, that is a heck of a grab by A.J. Finley as well. We know earlier in the first half he had an interception. In this one, he does a nice job. And 3 Rebel defenders around the football, but really nice job of coming up with the interception because, I mean, if you're Liberty, if you're able to score there, you're talking about having to recover an onside kick, but at least you give yourself a chance. And with that interception there, that kind of puts the nail in the coffin, and Matt Corral still comes out. He won't let Allmeyer come into the game at all.
No, Allmeyer was 5 for 5 last week against Auburn. He's like, enough of that. So this Ole Miss defense come up with 3 interceptions, 9 sacks today. 3rd quarter not so good, but overall a winning performance.
Winning performance. We don't know the status of Jalen Jones, and obviously you want Sam Williams to get back. But, I mean, outside of that, you didn't have any major injuries. And you see why that Liberty football team is a good bunch. I mean, the second half, I thought that they took what the defense gave them, and I thought they played really well.
Well, Ole Miss just beaten and battered on the offensive side of the football. Did enough today to win as Hugh Freeze comes back to Ole Miss for the first time since his departure And I got to think it, you want to win, but he's probably glad to get this one over with despite the loss. It has probably been an emotional day, emotional week. Lane Kiffin and the Rebels will take this win and move on, as Ole Miss will go to 7-2 on the year, and they'll finish up things with A&M, Vanderbilt, and then the Egg Bowl on November 25th. Meanwhile, Liberty will drop to 7-3. They've got Louisiana next up. They'll take a week off after 10 straight weeks of football, and then they'll finish the year, and it's not an easy one, with Army. But a win today for Ole Miss, 27-14. Let's go down to Andrea.
Matt Corral at less than 100%. He throws for over 300 yards. How would you describe his performance?
Well, it was gutsy. He did what he could do. We didn't play very well around him. We didn't play very well up front. Lost the second half. So we're 7-2, which is good. Our defense played really good outside of 2 series, which was great to see. But for the second week in a row in the second half, we just really struggle on offense.
Well, you mentioned not playing very well around Corral. With Texas A&M coming next week, what do you want to see improve?
I'd like to get our players back and get them healthy, and then not make the penalties we made, which hurt us in the game.
Coach, thank you.
Yeah.
Boy, it's hard. You won the game. You can't tell.
He's very stoic.
27-14, but Lane Kiffin will try to find some answers, get some healthy bodies. Hugh Freeze shaking hands and giving out hugs. Today belonged to Ole Miss, though, as they win it here. Let's get you to the studio. Peter Burns, it's all yours.